Master director David Fincher's new film, The Killer, is a comic book adaptation that brings Fincher back to the crime thriller genre, and it literally oozes style. The exquisite controlled cinematography and Michael Fassbender's nuanced acting managed to place this film on the list. The Killer is extremely enjoyable to follow in every mission it undertakes and every script it creates, presenting us with a smart, calculated, and careful killer.
With its cute script and unique serenity, Past Lives warmed our hearts in this year. Amidst all the bombastic stories, if you want to watch a calm and emotionally charged realistic story, let us introduce you to Past Lives. Past Lives is not just a movie about love. It presents us with the possibilities that makes us feel good, bitter, bad, the longing for the past, and the weight of the choices we make. The chemistry between our lead roles was noticeable and nuanced. If you want to watch a film that does not involve trivial arguments and fiery events, give this film a chance, sippers.
Next up is a horror film. For those who don't like jump scares and prefer a slow and methodical pace, this is the film of the year. The fact that the horrifying events in the film are the result of a grief and love is perhaps the most terrifying and touching point of the story. After all, it's an A24 film. The cinematography effectively captures a creepy desolation where it needs to be as simple and dynamic where it needs to be, providing a very effective atmosphere. The young actors, with Sophie Wilde bringing Mia's grief and horror to life, and Joe Bird portraying Riley, a sweet, not so smart character for his age, elevate the film with their perfect, natural performances. Thus, Talk to Me presents a gripping story dominated by love, loss, and longing. It can be unexpectedly funny or frightening when needed. A film that successfully captures existential loneliness that can arise from the loss of a loved one. Although the social perspective presented is not entirely original, it's undeniably effectively reflected. In addition, being much more impressive than average supernatural films. From a technical perspective, it can find a place among the best of the year.
Suzume is Makoto Shinkai's new film, and with its mesmerizing visuals, adorable characters, and entertaining adventure, it was one of the high-quality times we spent in the cinema this year. If we wanted to get a wallpaper from a movie this year, it would either be from our top 2 films or it would probably be Suzume. Although the script couldn't climb higher due to its somewhat shallow plot and occasionally bland character relationships, we thought it was sufficient and well written for Eastern storytelling. I don't know about you sippers, but the adventure of a cute girl traveling through Japan with talking 3-legged chair to stop live earthquake monsters seemed like a bombastic idea in every aspect.
Martin Scorsese brings together his 2 favorite actors and adds another fantastic film to his filmography. Although we have found this film a bit scattered and weak compared to the director's other productions, the experienced filmmaking, nuanced and realistic character development, and attention-grabbing performances put Killers of the Flower Moon in the 6th place. If you want a detailed review, we will be discussing this film next time.
Oppenheimer is a strange film. It's challenging for a movie from a director with such a solid filmography to be below certain standards, that is true. Oppenheimer, in terms of film production, music, editing, visual effects, and directing, might be Nolan's most refined, perhaps even best work to date. However, we started to feel Christopher Nolan's dull character issue the most in this one. Nolan usually saves his stories and scripts charms either with his brother's writing or with some actors personally intervening, such as Interstellar or Inception. But unfortunately this is not the case here, and this is a weak point for a movie that focuses on such a human story. But don't let this deceive you sippers, this scientific and political film revealing the nature of humanity in its all horror is tense, well-paced, and impactful.
Babylon comes from Damien Chazelle, and having a modern cinema film in this style and freedom at this budget is a blessing. It's as if they threw money at the guy and said, shoot whatever you want. Babylon is a production similar to Damien Chazelle's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and its biggest sin being a film at the wrong time for a young director like Damien, is what we think. With its amazing jazz music, fast-paced editing, and a story that immerses the audience in the history of cinema, Babylon was a unique experience.
Banshees of Inisherin is a picture that deals with the sudden ending of a friendship between two pals, and its plot may seem somewhat simple compared to those dealing with atomic bombs or combats with live earthquake monsters on this list. However, don't let that fool you, sippers, because what we have here is a story presented with extremely real and exquisite characters through a symbolic and a simple script. Cinematically, this movie is nearly flawless, and the nature shots are fantastic. Watch it on a screen that can handle this visual aspect and beauty, with its style, dialogues, and humor making it feel like a movie from the 2000s. Banshees of Inisherin was one of the best films we have watched this year, and all of the performances from the actors and actresses, lead to supporting, were fantastic.
Puss in Boots 2 made its mark in the cinema from the moment we watched it. We knew very well that this film would make it to the list, and we were confident that it will even compete for the top spot. And it did. Although we placed Puss in second, there was a solid competition with the first. While our first choice narrowly secured its place, Puss in Boots certainly didn't lose its place in our hearts. The Last Wish, with its fairy tale-like narrative, it's a solid 10 out of 10 film in terms of emotion, action scenes, character arcs, humor, and the dialogues. We can't think of anything that could have been better in this film. This is proof that another legendary film has been added to DreamWorks' catalog.
And number 1, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Sippers, this was a challenging movie to pick. As we mentioned earlier, Puss in Boots 2, in our humble opinion, is a still film that will share this top spot in an instant. In fact, if you ask us, it's even a more complete film. But Across the Spider-Verse, now this is a modern classic. We're not just talking about the animation genre, but one of the milestones of the entire cinematic history. Our team has watched this film in the theaters more than 10 times if I'm not mistaken, and each time we were captivated by the screen and loved this picture even more. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse may not be the flawless movie you're looking for. The film cuts off the beginning of the third act and doesn't feel as complete as the first one. Sometimes the pace can falter and some scenes might be a bit too long, and the comedy is not as well polished as the first one. But the rest: script writing, cinematography, sound design, directing, animation, and storytelling. In our opinion, this film doesn't just double down on its strengths from the first film, but these strengths also easily overshadows most films of this year. Now, what about the music? We gotta talk about the music, right? Daniel Pemberton seems to have watched the movie and noticed that everyone was bringing their A-game, and he was determined not to be outdone. This is one of the most experimental, emotionally charged, and energetic compositions of the recent years in movie history. We're still listening to the film's soundtrack. Even if there are some minor scene jumps and pace disruptions and comedy issues that prevents Spider-Verse from being flawless, it was undoubtedly the best time we spent in the theater, and it was our favorite picture in recent years. We eagerly await the next one and wishing Miles the best of lucks. Things are about to get messy.
We have come to the end of intense and enjoyable year in cinema. In 2024, many films are awaiting us. Are you satisfied with the films of 2023? What were your top 10 favorite films? Let's discuss in the comments. Also friends, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the videos. See you soon. And remember, stay sipping your favorite drinks and stories. See you later.